Hi there, it's Sasia. I've taken both computer-based and paper-based IELTS, and in this video I want to tell you about all the advantages and disadvantages of the computer-based test that you should know about. I'm also going to show you the real platform on which you'll be taking the test. Just one quick question before we begin. Do you regularly watch my videos? Do you like them? If the answers are yes, please subscribe to this channel. It means a lot to me. And now, let's get started. First of all, let me tell you about a few advantages of the computer-based IELTS in general. If you take a paper-based test, you have to wait for your results for 13 days. With the computer-based IELTS, results are published in just 3-5 days, much more pleasant. However, if you take IELTS UKVI for UK visas and immigration, you still have to wait for 13 days whatever test you take. Also, in a computer-based IELTS, there are usually fewer people in the room, so there is less noise and the admin part of the exam takes less time. What's more important is that in a computer-based IELTS, you always know how much time is left because there is a timer right on the screen in front of you. If you take the paper-based exam, there will be a clock on the wall, but you need to note what time the section begins in order to know when it ends. The only thing you need to know about the computer-based test and its timer is that it doesn't show seconds. So you will see that you have 2 minutes left, 1 minute left, and then your time is up. And if you're thinking, what about your own watch? You're not allowed to take it into the room. Now let's talk about each section of the IELTS exam, starting with IELTS listening. And I'm going to show you the platform you're going to use during your exam. I like it. I think it's quite convenient, but you need to learn how to use it and know what you can do there beforehand because no one's going to teach you on the exam day. So here it is. Okay, that's a practice IELTS listening test. And actually, I find that selecting answers to your questions is easier here. You can simply click to select an answer. And if you want to change it, you can click again and remove it, or you can simply click on the other answer and it will move automatically. You can click here to switch between sections. Sometimes you need to select 2 answers. And again, you can click again if you want to remove an answer. Sometimes you need to drag the answer to the correct place. For example, we take finance and we drag it here and then we release. If you want to change it, for example, to choose rooms, you can just drag it on top and it will switch the answers. Or you can select an answer and then you can move it to another place. Or if you want to completely remove it, you can just take it and drag it back to the answers and then release. So that's quite handy. There is nothing difficult, but you just need to try how it works before your exam. Of course, sometimes you need to type answers and you will have to type and listen at the same time. You can highlight words if you want. You select a word, right-click, highlight. Here it is. And you can select which questions you want to review later. For example, now we have number 17 selected. You just click to review and you see it's round. So that means that you want to come back to this question when you have some time left at the end. You can move between questions freely. Just click here or click these arrows to move to the next question. Just be careful, when the next section starts, you need to switch to see the next questions. The screen will not switch automatically. This is a practice test and I see 2 differences between this test and the real test. Well, first of all, there are only 24 questions here and of course you're going to have 40 questions in your real test. But also in this test, the dialogue stops after each section and you need to switch to the next section to hear the next dialogue. That's not the luxury you're gonna have during the real exam. These are the only two differences I've noticed. You should know that you're gonna get only 2 minutes after your IELTS listening if you take it on a computer, not 10 minutes like in a paper-based test. At the same time, all your answers are already selected. You don't need to transfer them to a separate answer sheet. So actually 2 minutes is enough to go back to any questions you marked to review and think how you're going to answer them. A good thing is that you're guaranteed to have earphones. It's just easier to hear everything when the sound is right here without any noise. It is true that many centers give you earphones even if you take a paper-based test, but it's not always the case. And the last time I took my exam in London, I wasn't given any earphones and there were probably 100 people in the room and a lot of noise. I often get asked if you get a pencil and paper in a computer-based test. The answer is yes. You get a sheet with instructions and a pencil, and you can take your notes on it, but I personally never do it, and I think that you can do everything you need on the computer in front of you. Now let's talk about IELTS reading, and let me show you the platform straight away. What I like about the computer-based test is that you see the passage on the left and your questions on the right, so you don't need to turn pages. But there are some differences between this platform and the real one. And the first difference is that here you only see some paragraphs, but in the real test, you will see the whole passage here and you'll be able to scroll it up and down. And of course, there is 41 questions here, but you're gonna have 40 questions. This is an academic practice test. There is one for general training students too. In order to select your answers, you just click here. But in order to answer the second question, first you need to click on the question and then select your answer. And the same with the third question, clicking, selecting, clicking, selecting. And in true, false, not given questions, finally you don't need to write full words, you just click and that's it. Okay, sometimes you need to type a word. You can either type your answer or you can find it in the text, select it, click Ctrl+C to copy, Ctrl+V to paste. Here it is. And you're guaranteed that there is no spelling error. If you're wondering if you can use Ctrl+F to look for words, the answer is no. And you can highlight words the same way, right-click, highlight, and both in question. And similarly in questions, right-click, highlight. You can actually take notes and type something here. But I don't think you have time for that. So if you click, you can read your note. I don't think it's useful. And of course, you're very likely to have the match headings questions, and here you just drag the heading to the correct place. If you want to replace it, you just drag another answer on top of it, or you can just drag it back to put it back. In a computer-based IELTS reading, you don't need to transfer your answers anywhere, and it feels like you gain a couple of minutes in comparison with a paper-based test. Now let's talk about IELTS writing. And I think the key question here is this one: how quickly do you type? If you're comfortable typing on the keyboard, it's great. Many people can type more quickly than they can write, particularly write with a pencil. And of course, you can easily correct anything in your answers. And you don't risk running out of paper if you take your exam on a computer. Yes, it is a bit of a problem in Task 2. I need to write in a smaller letters than I normally would, just to make sure that my Task 2 fits on a single answer sheet. If it doesn't, you have to request a second sheet, so you have to wait until you get it, and then you need to write your name and your code on it, so it takes much more time, and it's not an issue in a computer-based test at all. But of course, When we type, we make typos, unintentional errors which you have to correct because they are going to affect your vocabulary and grammar score, and that requires time. And of course, if you're not used to typing on a keyboard, you may be better off taking a paper-based test because otherwise it's just going to be too much. In any case, let's have a look at the platform. In IELTS writing, you can freely switch between your task 1 and task 2, just here. And usually I like to read both tasks quickly to decide which one I want to start with. And if you're wondering what is a word in IELTS, the answer is everything. As you can see, we have 4 words here. There is another convenient feature of IELTS writing. If you want to change something, you can just press Ctrl X to cut it out and Ctrl V to paste it in a different place. But if you're wondering if you're gonna get a spell check like in Microsoft Word, the answer is no. If you make a typo, you won't see it. You have to correct yourself. That was IELTS writing. IELTS speaking is the same test, whatever version of the exam you take, it's still a face-to-face interview with an examiner. And if you take IELTS Indicator, the test that is available at home, then the platform there is slightly different. The one I showed you is used in IELTS centers. And the test I showed you is available on the IELTS Essentials website by IDP. I'm going to link it in the video description box below. You can also find the link in my IELTS study plan. That's a PDF guide with 5 steps to quickly prepare for your IELTS exam and links to all the essential resources for your preparation and all the free practice tests. So thank you for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!